This is one of my favourite dishes. This is a dish that I grew up eating, sitting on my nono's knee. That's my grandfather. From his village, Telver, which is near Borgo Valsugana, which is in Alta Adige, which is in the north of Italy. This is a festival they would have. They would cook the sausages up, then make the polenta, smear it on the board, and then put the sausage ragu in the middle of it.
It's exciting. I'm loving this history, the story. I'm on the journey with you, my friend.
Well, I did pay attention to some history somewhere along the line. Now, I'm going to make it a little bit different, and this is how my grandfather would make it for us. I get a sausage here. These are Italian sausages. Make sure you only buy Italian sausages for these. You can buy fennel sausages. You can use whatever sausage you want. I take the skin of the sausage off, because we've got a ready-made, seasoned package ready to go. And Preeya, I just grab them off like this and pop them into the hot pan. They'll start sizzling away in a second. And because the sausages have already been mixed up and bound, the protein in them is sticking together. So these will come together beautifully.
Little quick meatball.
Exactly. So there's a tip. If you want to make polpetti or meatballs, just go to your friendly butcher, ask for an Italian sausage or any sausage they've got, and then you've got meatballs ready to go.
Love it.
If you start picking some herbs, that would be great. And I've got some basil, some oregano, and some fresh thymes. And I want all of the leaves picked nicely because we're going to throw them through at the end.
Every single leaf.
Some olive oil will go into the pan now. You can see I started it off in a dry pan here, and that way I could add all the little sausage meatballs to it without it splashing. And as soon as I add the olive oil, you can see it's really starting to come together and browning off beautifully. And the other thing, I told you it was going to hold together. Normally, if you just get some minced meat, it falls apart.
Yes, it does.
But because it's a sausage, it's been bound together and it holds up beautifully. Now, in goes some onion, and I've got a bay leaf as well. That's going to give it great flavour. Lots of herbs, lots of spices going in here. And I'll just add this garlic and chilli that's been chopped. We're just motoring along here. And I've got some butter as well. We need some butter in this. A knife would be great. I can just cut some butter off there. I just cut a tiny little bit of butter off the end there.
Okay.
And I'm going to throw this into the pan because the butter helps all the flavours come together. Look at that.
I would say you've already got the fat content from the sausage and you've already got some olive oil in there. I don't think you possibly need the butter. You know, you've probably got enough fat in there already.
That's something Preeya would say, but I would say the complete opposite. It needs a bit of butter there just to melt and become luscious and flavoursome. And you can hear the change. As soon as I put the butter in there, it just started to soften up and become at one with the sausage and the onion and the garlic and the chilli. It's almost like a symphony. It's almost like they turn the volume down and we let everything happen here beautifully.
I don't know what my role is here sometimes in the kitchen.
Well, can you pass me the herbs there?
Sure,
We're going to throw them in now. We've got lovely herbs. We've got some basil, some thyme, and I just tear it up a little bit. My grandfather grew all of these herbs in his garden outside, so he would always smell like these herbs, and it was such a beautiful thing. And, you know, just stirring this around almost brings a little tear to my eye. I can just hear my grandmother yelling at my grandfather because that's what Italians do, and that was a beautiful part of life. In goes some salt. Now, just be careful when you are making this, when you are adding salt. Sausages are usually very well seasoned. So just be careful how much salt you're adding because there is a lot of seasoning in those little sausage meatballs. You might not even need to add
any possibly, especially if you're feeding kids because we know they get a lot of salt through their diet from marinades and sauces anyway.
What we're going to do now, this is all sweating down nicely and the sausages are nearly cooked. There's lots of flavour going in there. We add a little bit of port and I've got some white wine as well. And my grandfather would use the cask wine. It doesn't matter what wine you use. Probably not your expensive stuff, but you know, good wine like this is beautiful. You can see that starting to simmer away beautifully.
Smells delicious.
Exactly. I'll turn that up. And I've also got some tomatoes over there. If you can hand them over to me. These are lovely Roma tomatoes and they're whole peeled tomatoes. I like to add these because I love the body of the tomato in there and also the sauce, and I find these are really nice. You can use passata, but it's all pureed up. Yeah. I like the chunkiness of the tomato, and I sort of break it up with the back of the spoon there, pop the whole lot of it in there. And Preeya, what we're going to do is let this simmer away nice and gently for about half an hour or so till it starts to come together and all those flavours start to blend. And I think this is the perfect time to start making the polenta. Now you can see I've got my stock already simmering away, and you can use milk, you can use water, you can use a little bit of cream, whatever you want to use. I like a little bit of chicken stock because I like the flavour of it. Sometimes I'll fry up some onions and garlic in there and then put the stock in there and some white wine, but we're just going to do it real simple. Polenta, instant polenta I'm using, and I'm going to rain it into the pot. It's really important that we do this raining it in nice and gently while we whisk it underneath, and that allows the polenta particles to disperse evenly amongst the stock. Scientific, it's very scientific, nice and clever. And what we do is we start whisking it around and it'll start to thicken up. Usually it's about 1 part polenta to 4 parts stock, but if you like it nice and thick, you'll have less stock in it. And if you like it nice and thin, you put more stock or liquid in it. And you can already see it starting to stick together, but I will give you one pro tip. It is really hot and you can see it starting to spit like that. Okay, that is like molten lava. It will burn you, it will hurt a lot, and it will turn you off making polenta. So once it starts to thicken up like this, so it's ready to start spitting, I just tap it like that and then have a lid handy. If you've got a lid handy, you keep it nice and clean. You can see it popping like this. It's like popcorn. Let it go for a bit. Every couple of minutes, move it off the heat, stir it around and back on the heat, and then you won't burn yourself. Let's let this go for about 5 to 10 minutes. Everything will be ready, and I'll show you how we put this together. Some cheese, some herbs. Oh, I can't wait to show you this one. I'm excited. Oh, it's looking good, isn't it, Preeya?
It is, nice and thick.
Can you smell that toasting polenta? It's almost got a popcorny sort of flavour to it or aroma to it. Now we're going to load it up. This is where all the goodness goes in there. And I'm going to go a bit over the top here. A little bit of butter goes in because we like our polenta to be luscious and delicious. A little bit of cream goes in there as well because we like it even more luscious and delicious. We want it to be flavoursome. We want it to be tasty.
You could actually, I just do polenta on its own, as you'll see. But yes, okay, so you're just flavouring it up. Oh, and the cheese.
See that cheese going in there as well. We've got mozzarella cheese in there, Parmesan cheese in there. I am overdoing it, yes, but I love it this way.
Look at this insight, I'm amazed.
Creamy, buttery polenta. You've got the heat of that polenta will actually incorporate all of those lovely cheeses and fats and creams and butter. Now, I'm being really selfish in doing this myself because it's such a fun thing to do is stir that around. I'm going to share it with you a little bit. I'm just going to hand this over here to you, Preeya, and give you an opportunity to join in the most
fun, the polenta party.
You start stirring it and you're
Okay,
going to see.
okay, he's like, don't just look at it.
Keep going.
Okay.
And you've got to go around.
Okay,
You've got to go around clockwise.
Oh.
You've got to go around clockwise. If you don't, it'll split the cheese and it'll go everywhere. And you need to work it pretty hard to make sure you get all that cheese melted in there.
Don't you worry, I've got this. You focus on your sauce. Anti-clockwise is
clockwise.
okay. It's okay.
I'm sorry, Grandfather. I'm sorry, no. She knows what not she does. There we go, something like that. Now, I've moved this over here. This is the sauce. Have a look at this.
Oh, lovely.
And that's looking good. Lots of colour in there. How are you going with that polenta?
Oh, lovely. It is really melting in here. It does look rather indulgent. You could leave out if you wanted to, if you're trying to watch your cholesterol, worried about...
Did you see the parsley that went in here? I'll just stir the parsley into it and that gives it a lovely, fresh flavour to make it nice and delicious. I didn't want to interrupt you there, but
you did.
I just wanted to show everyone this important moment here when the parsley goes in there. Now, look at that.
Lovely. Look at this. Wow. So much gooiness.
You know it's going to be great. Okay, I'll pop that there like that. Oh, it's too much fun, isn't it?
It's very, very indulgent, but my goodness, I had a little sneaky taste.
It's good.
It's magnificent.
Now, everyone out there is thinking, Preeya's got to give us their health message and tell us, what we're supposed to eat. But every now and again, you've got to let go, don't you?
Of course.
Oh, look
and
at that cheese.
I'm a true believer in that. I think a lot of foods get demonised, truly. And I think people have stopped enjoying food. They're kind of overthinking it perhaps. But as long as you're eating lots of rainbows most of the time, trying to limit things like sugars and salts in the diet and all those things. But you do have to live, I agree with you. Food is so much more than nutrition. It's comfort. It's a hug in a dish. It's, it's lots of things. Happiness, sadness.
Like I keep saying, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nutritionist, I don't care how long you live, but if you can have this dish once in your life, you will have lived. You will have enjoyed your life. You would have had one of the most amazing dishes in the entire world. And you can imagine hundreds of people scrubbing the tables down. They come along with big pots. Wow. They put the polenta down. They put the sausage and the sauce on there, and you get your own little square. Then you get to tuck into that. Oh, look at that.
You've got a fork and I've got a spoon and a fork.
Because you know what I'm
excited.
I'm going to pick up a little bit of polenta there like that, turn it around. It's like pasta, isn't it? The way it's stringy. You have to turn it around like spaghetti.
I'm going to get a bit of both. Here we go.
There we go, a bit of both in there. Now, it's going to be really hot, so I want you to blow on it at least and just make sure it cools down a little bit. Resist the temptation of shoving it in your mouth.
I put it in there and I burnt my lips, but it was worth it because that is truly delicious. The richness of the polenta, love the flavours in here. I would put that with pasta as well. There are some things in here that are quite indulgent, but by golly, that is seriously good.
The village of Telve and all their ancestors would be very proud of me.
I reckon they would be.